we want to honor that we are meeting on the day as an international women's organization, a day that the United Nations has designated, which it did in 2021 and 2022, the International Day of Women in Diplomacy. And it celebrates that we as women have contributed a lot to international diplomacy, but it also addresses the underrepresentation of women in foreign policy, including within the United Nations systems, and it promotes equal participation. As one example of the underrepresentation of women in international diplomacy, there has never been a Secretary General, a woman who has been elected as Secretary General of the United Nations, which we are supporting at this point. So you see the quote here from the UN Deputy Secretary General: "We must do everything possible to ensure women are at the table. Our voices are heard and our contributions are valued." ICUUW celebrates women as peace builders, and in honoring this International Day of Women in Diplomacy, I want to raise up the resolution of peace adopted at the fourth convocation of ICUUW in Koleshvar. And I just ask that you read it with me, or read it as I read it through. This is what the women in Koleshvar, ICUUW women, declared. "A growing body of evidence shows that women's participation in peace processes and conflict prevention results in more stable peace agreements. Women's perspectives and experiences are therefore essential in shaping inclusive solutions for sustainable peace. Empowering women as peace builders, peacekeepers, mediators, and agents of change will lead to greater global peace, strengthening social cohesion, and community resilience. We therefore commit to personal and institutional actions stemming from the work of the Global Sisters Conversation at the Fourth International Convocation of Unitarian Universalist Women." And this was in Romania in September 2024. And I ask that we keep this in mind as we go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Phyllis. And we will hear from you again when we have the reports from the committees. There, I'm sure you will also address that. Thanks. Yeah, so as I said, this is our agenda. I'm now turn this over to Zsuzsa, our secretary, who will ask for the approval of the minutes from last year.
As you could see the minutes from last year, I am asking you if you have anything to add or you would approve the minutes from last year.
If there are no comments, no objections, then Anne, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I just approve. I just raised my hand to approve.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Good. Then I hope we all approve because we don't have anybody who spoke up, right? So the minutes are approved. Thank you, Zsuzsa, for everything you do.
Well, thank you, Tina.
Next is our elections, and I turn this over to Beth to give us the report from the nominating committee and to ask for the endorsement of the recommendations.
Okay, thanks, Tina. I'm happy to present our slate of candidates for the ICUUW board. You look at for the board side of the screen there, on the bottom right is Sylvie. She is seeking a second term on the board. Board members serve for 3 years for a maximum of 2 terms. And then they must step down from the board for a year before they can run again. The idea is that we always bring new people, new voices, new energy, new ideas to the board. So Sylvie is going for her second 3-year term. Next to her is Ciro. Many of you may recognize her from, she was at our 4th Convo. She is from Kenya, and she is the head of the Maasai UU Women's Communities food security sustainability, food sustainability project in Kenya, which ICUUW, we're a partner with that project. And so she's been heading up that, and she's very active on our programs committee. Above her is Allison, who lives in Greece, and Allison has been very active in our membership and UN advocacy committees. And next to her is Bruce. We on the nominating committee decided this year that to nominate a man to one of our 9 positions on the board. We want to show and encourage men to support our work and to better to understand the challenges that women and girls face and the work of gender equality. And the work of gender equality, as Pooja, our executive director, said in a recent email, it can't be done in isolation. It is work that is inclusive. And so we are, and Bruce, that's why we decided to nominate man to one of the 9 slots. And Bruce brings unique skills, his long career in international relations. He was the head of the UUA office at the UN when they had one. And he knows the United Nations, and he knows the world of international NGOs, so he can bring this knowledge to the work of the board. And you all received, I should say, bios of these people, and they all bring unique skills, and we are so grateful to them to take on this responsibility and this commitment to the organization that we all care about. I remind you all that our board members are volunteers. We are, as you know, we are a volunteer-run organization. So we are so grateful and so appreciative for people who step up to take on these roles. And over on the right side is Gizi, who is running for a spot on our nominating committee. She was filling in a vacancy recently. And Gizi has served her 2 terms on the board, and she's stepping down. But I'm sure so many of you know her. She's been so active in ICUUW from the start, actually. She was instrumental in our 2 convocations in Transylvania in 2012, and then the second one in 2024. So she really knows our organization and what our needs are. So she's an invaluable, I think, nominee for the nominating committee. And myself, she'll be elected for 2 years. I was elected last year, so I'm on my second year. And then the third person of the nominating committee will be a board member who will be appointed by the new board. And again, these are all volunteers, and we are just so grateful for their commitment. Okay, Tina, back to you.
Thank you, Beth, for a wonderful um, selection of candidates. Like you just explained, right? They all bring unique skills and insights that will be really beneficial to ICUUW. So thank you to everyone on the nominating committee for the work that you've done to recruit these candidates. May I ask for a motion to elect the slate as presented, please?
So moved. This is Jerry Kennedy.
Thank you, Jerry. We do not have nominations from the floor. So I think all we need is a second.
I second.
Thank you. That was
Jody.
Jody. Yes. And all in favor, if you want to unmute, or you can raise your hand like Ann did earlier, your electronic hand. Many things. Wow, I see lots of hands raised and laughs, and so that's great, right? We have a really strong board here. Thank you. Yes, I never know how to do that, so I raise my hand like this. That also counts, right? Any way we can. Do we have any abstentions? Let's see if we have any abstentions. Pooja, can you help me here? Because I can't see.
You can't see what? Sorry, I lost
I
you
can't
for.
see the people. I can't see the people because I'm sharing my screen.
Oh, yeah.
There.
Yes.
Any abstentions?
Any what?
Abstentions.
No.
People need to lower their hands if they voted in favor before.
Yes.
Good idea. Yes.
Joanne, Vicky, and Scott. Vicky and Scott, your hand is still up. Okay, no one.
So we have no abstentions. Do I have any noes? Anybody who does not endorse the slate as suggested by the nominating committee?
Yes, please raise your hand electronically if you can, because I can't see everyone on my screen. That's why. I don't think so. Looks
Okay.
like everyone's
There's
on
one.
board.
Christine. Okay. So Christine is a no.
Christine. Okay,
Yeah.
Christine is a no. No? Christine, would you unmute yourself? We can't hear you. Yes.
No, I'm not a no. I had my hand up before and then it went away, so
Oh,
I wasn't sure you caught it. It's not a no, it's a yes.
okay, great. Wonderful.
Oh,
All right. Thanks, Christine.
You're welcome.
yeah, we just had our church annual meeting, and this raising your hand is maybe we can come up with a better system next.
And Tina, we need to vote for
Right.
the nominating committee.
We did.
Yes, so that was for the board, and now for the nominating committee. As Beth presented, we have Gizi, who served on the board for 6 years, and Gizi is from Romania. And so again, when we not only on the board, we look to have a global representation, but also on the nominating committee. It's very important for us to have members on the nominating committee that will help us become more international also when it comes to our board. So to have Gizi is wonderful as a new member of the nominating committee. Do we need a motion for that, Beth?
Yes,
I guess so. I guess so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Can we get a motion for to elect Gizi to the nominating committee?
So move.
Thank you. Who was that?
Karen Steele.
Second,
Karen. Wonderful. Thank you, Karen. And
Jerry
LG.
Kennedy seconds.
okay, and Elgiva also seconded, so we have seconds. All in favor, raise your hand, say it out loud, whatever you,
Okay.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Whatever you're
Okay.
comfortable with, let us know. And I
Wait,
see lots
I'm
of people.
checking everyone, okay?
Good, 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 good.
All right.
Okay. Thank you
Everyone.
very much.
All right, great. Olga, Gizi.
Yeah, we
Okay.
don't need the names, Pooja. That's
Okay.
okay.
All right.
Mhm.
Okay. Great.
Okay, let's lower our hands so we can see if anybody objects. Anybody who wants to vote no, or anybody who wants to abstain. You can also just speak out loud if you like. Well, the silence in this case is a good silence because it means that everybody likes the fact, Gizi, that you're going to be on the nominating committee. So congratulations to the new board members. Congratulations to the nominating committee member. And yeah, thank you to everybody who participated in our elections. And thank you again to the nominating committee for all the work you do all year round, right? It's not just, it really takes a whole year and going through the various options to pick the right people. We are going to reflect a little on what we have done over the last 12 months. So this is really focusing on what we have accomplished. And as you see here, I'm going to talk briefly about the coordinating council, and then we're going to go around the room talking about membership, UN advocacy programs, outreach, communications, and finance. And then Jerry will talk about the finance committee, and then immediately follow that with a report of the treasurer, because of course Jerry is our treasurer. So I want to start with the coordinating council. As a matter of fact, I'm going to start here. Not all of you who are active are familiar with this slide, but I thought this is a good opportunity to just briefly show it to all our members as well who might not be so familiar with this. We gave ourselves this governance model some years ago. You can see that the board is responsible for everything that is happening in ICUUW, but the work gets done primarily in our committees. We started that about 5 years ago, that we said as we were growing, as we were maturing, right? It wasn't individuals anymore who took on commitments, but it were committees that looked at what we have given ourselves and our strategic plan as our mission and our objectives, and the committees then took on responsibilities for certain aspects to drive our overall mission as an organization. And today we have membership engagement, the UN Advocacy Committee, programs and partnerships, outreach, communications, and finance committee. These committees are looks at what the
Tina, you were frozen for a second.
oh well, that happens. And thanks, Pooja, but yeah, we never know if it's on my side, on somebody else's side. It's fine. So these committees, they are not written in our bylaws, but we have those committees as we need them. We also have things that are not attached to a committee, and I want to point out our 5th Convo task force that is marked in green here. At the end of our 4th Convo in 2024, many people said, oh, when is the next one? When is the next one? But like with everything in ICUUW, things only get done when we have volunteers who decide to step up and lead the effort. And so right now we are still looking for a handful of good people who say, I would be happy to serve on the fifth Convo task force, which would include finding the location, working out the details, and basically leading the effort that is necessary to have another convocation. So if you feel that this is something that you might like to get involved with, please let us know and we will be in touch with you. On the right-hand side, you see the coordinating council. Beth, who also chairs the nominating committee, so we just heard from her, is leading the coordinating council. And the council has quarterly meetings where the heads of the committees get together and talk to each other to share what they are doing, to coordinate, to work together, and to make sure that we are all informed as to what we are doing. So in each committee, in addition, each committee has a board liaison, member from the board that is a member of the committee, so that there is a really strong connection between the board and the committees. And with the coordinating council, there is also a really strong connection between the various committees. One last thing, and it might be a little small for you, but at the bottom of my screen, it says we are using a consensus model. And what that means is that we do not use an American thing called Robert's Rules. We do not use Martha's Rules, which also exist. We do not use any other European, Asian, any other model. We use a model that was popularized by the Quakers and a model that is used by the United Nations. And that is we get together and we discuss our decisions until we reach consensus. And we find that that is a very positive way to make decisions in our organizations. And I practiced that a little bit with you today when we talked about the meeting minutes from last year. And I said, well, if there are no objections, then we have adopted the meeting minutes. That's basically how it works. So with that, I'm turning it over to Allison, who we just elected, and to tell us a little bit about membership and what membership has been up to.
Great. Thank you very much, Tina. So I've been on the membership committee now for a couple of years, and we decided that we really wanted to work on engaging members in addition to keeping track of data and sending out emails or whatever. So we had two events. One was the new members call, and we decided that, especially because I am kind of a new member and I didn't really understand, I was trying to find my way around how everything was working, we decided we would have a call in which we would introduce the organization, how it was founded and its history a bit, all of the committees and what they do, and then have the small breakout room so that people could learn a little bit more about them. So that's what we did. We introduced everyone, the committee chairs were there and they talked about what they do. We did a brief overview of ICUUW history, its founding. And then in the small breakout rooms, we gave the opportunity for the new people to speak with people that have been there for a while and maybe ask them, why are you here? What do you like about it? What do you do? What brought you here, etc. And to try to sort of get people more engaged. And in fact, a couple committees gained new members, and we got Zsuzsa on our committee as well after that. And now we also have Sylvie. And unfortunately, we don't have Lee working with us all the time now. She had to step back, but it was a successful call, and I think that a lot of people learned a lot of things there. And our next one was the resilience workshop, and we chose to do that on Mother Earth Day. It was focused on transition, difficult times, basically. We had 2 workshops in 2 different time zones, again, trying to reach more people because we have people all over the world as an international organization, and the membership is growing. So, fortunately, Reverend Erica Oraban agreed to give 2 talks for her time in Hungary there. She's also a mental health counselor, and she led the 2 workshops. And we worked on building a bridge and what that bridge symbolized to us in terms of what are the pillars that held us up during a transition, whether we walked across by ourselves or with others who supported us in that. And we got a lot of really good conversation going. People were very engaged, actually. We were so happy because it seems like there's a big need for this. And we had transitions that included professional transitions in your personal life, having an older child come back to live with you, an elderly parent who's now ill and you have to change something there. So we did those 2 events. And then, of course, we're working on now, Tina, cleanup doesn't sound very nice, but we are working on getting all the data organized and making sure everything is the way that it should be there, because we also migrated the website, which also collects some data. We have a database there, and we have other ways of collecting data. So we're streamlining that, working together, not only the membership engagement team, but with a lot of other people on this to make sure that we have all the data in order so that going forward, now we have our new executive director. So Pooja has stepped in and Jofi has stepped out and is doing other things along with the organization in many different ways. But so now we're getting things back on track from here on in terms of the membership data, and of course, working on growing the membership and getting members more involved functionally, not only having more numbers and more money, which both of those are very important, but also getting members more involved functionally. Thank you very much. Back to you, Tina.
Phyllis.
So I'm going to speak to you about our UN Advocacy Committee. Our committee members are listed on the right-hand side of this slide, and I want to acknowledge the work of the Reverend Carol Houston, who has been our chair for several years. She lives in New York, and so it was easier for her to get down to the UN. But I also want to acknowledge the really great deal of work that Beth O'Connell did this year. She now lives in New Jersey, and she gets in often, and she's done a wonderful job as being sort of co-chair of the UN Advocacy Committee. We meet on the first Friday of every month on Zoom, but we also meet in New York at the UN when things are going on. By way of background, for those of you who are new to our organization, ICUUW was granted consultative status with the United Nations Economic and Social Council in 2019. And this was a recognition that we work to support achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals. This status grants ICUUW the right for a number of members to receive passes to attend meetings within the UN grounds. And that's always a special thing to do. So some of the things that we have done in the past year, in July 2025, in July, there is what is called the High-Level Political Forum at the UN in New York, and several people attended, and the High-Level Political Forum focuses on one or two of the Sustainable Development Goals. And last year it was on gender equality. Now, I would like to talk about the next 2 because I would we'll go into more. If you will go to the next one, I will talk about a little bit more about the next 2 things that we've done. So can you go to the next slide?
Phyllis, you got another minute and a half.
One of the main things that we do is that every year the UN Commission on the Status of Women meets in New York City, and we have a large contingent who usually goes there. The commission is 45 members elected to 4-year terms, and they have a theme, and they develop a statement on it. And there are always side events within the UN sponsored by the member nations and parallel events. This past year, 12 ICU members went, and ICUUW hosted 2 parallel events, which you can watch on Zoom. One was Love Your Neighbor, Helping Refugees in Morally Challenging Times. That was all online. The other one, Women Defenders and Environmental Justice, was it was an in-person one, but it was also online. Both of them you can view on our website. So the next thing that we are involved in, if you go to the next slide, so I can, Tina. We are there is a proposed crimes against humanity declaration or a treaty that is being developed over the next 3 years. And we have been working with others. We signed on to a letter to support this because we want to work on strengthening gender justice within the world so that gender crimes for gender can be taken to the international court. We want to support the protection for women. We're working to work with others. We are active in something called the UN Women's Caucus at the UN. We have people going to our high-level political forum in 2026. We are hoping that next year we can hold an in-person parallel event at CSW, and we are supporting efforts to elect a woman, finally, as the next Secretary General of the United Nations.
Thank you, Phyllis. Lots of things going on there, right?
Yes.
Eljiva.
I just had a quick question.
Jody, can you hold your question? We will have question and answer.
Absolutely.
Is
No
that
problem.
okay?
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Can you hear me, everyone?
Yes.
I'm representing the program and partnership committee, and we have 8 members in our committee, and is headed by Karen and Adele. So here's our accomplishment for the year. We have completed projects. First is we have the ICUUW banner. It's an electronic banner made out of 60 textiles that were collected from women during the 4th Convo in Transylvania. And we also have an online ICU matching game created and distributed using these selected textiles and writings from the 4th Convo. And there's another development, which is the mental health book, which is published by our Transylvanian women, the UNOS. The handbook is published in our website in Hungarian and English. You can all go and read it there. We also have storytelling project. These stories are also published in our website and also discussed in our Tuesday gatherings. And from India, we have finished our Navchetna program. We completed all the sessions, which was focused on life skills and drug abuse prevention for youth aged 11 to 17 years. Then we went to Kenya. We have the Water for UU Maasai community, we hooked up this Maasai community to the nearest government water supply. So we still have a lot of work with that. Our partnerships, we have Sister Source partners, and we celebrated the International Women's Day with the UUA and the Institute of Technology in Kenya. This was an online program. And also we have the European UUs for a new project in Uganda. Another part, then we also send greetings to the women's organization in Romania, Hungary, and the Philippines on the occasions of their annual meetings. Condolences were sent to the family of Rebecca Siens from the Philippines, who had passed away earlier this year. So that was basically our projects done last year. Thank you.
Pooja?
Hi, everyone. I'm going to provide you an update on the outreach committee, which has, they've had several meetings, as I learned from reading their report in the past 1 year. And initially, they were thinking of doing communications, but because we have a communications committee right now, that work will move into the communications committee, which I think Karen is going to talk about later. But I know that they also started doing the share the plate, which was really useful to us and very helpful in not only helping us making collaborations with congregations, but also helping us with spreading ICUUW's name out there. I think we will continue focusing on the share the plate, and it will lead, and as I understand, that will be headed by Erica, who will speak a little bit about that as well. I also know that the committee is meeting regularly to talk about different things, and one of which is Tuesday gathering. And I'm aware that Sylvie will be speaking about that later in the meeting. So we will hear from her. Very excited to see that what all outreach committee wants to do in 2026, one of which would be share the plate, as I understand after reading their report. So yeah, excited, and thank you so much for all the work that you have put into this committee, and look forward to bringing expanding share the plate work and bringing in more congregations with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Sylvie?
Thank you so much. We just had outage, electricity, so I hope you can see me and hear me. Yeah, I'm Sylvie. I've just been elected for the second term. Thank you for the nominating committee to have trust in me, and I look forward to serve more on ICUUW as a board member. Right now, I'm speaking about the Tuesday gathering. It's one of the activity of ICUUW. We usually meet a second Tuesday and fourth Tuesday of every month. And we usually have different topics. And so far this year, we have done 12 gatherings since January, and reached like almost 90 people joined, different time, different month. And right now, we are looking forward to continue providing the Tuesday gathering. And this year, we had special guests. So we had an author, and we had another gathering targeting New Zealand and Australia. So basically, we are trying to find out how we can incorporate different time zone, because the originally Tuesday gathering was from people from USA, and the other people can connect to their time zone. But right now, we are looking forward to expand our horizons and try to reach many people, different time zones. So that's a project in the future. And we have a task force of few members: Karen, Vicky, Denise, Adele, and myself. And we really encourage everyone, because these topics are so important. And the Tuesday is when we get to know each other. And that's when you get to know ICUUW work. And if you always have a subject or a topic you would like something you have in your heart you want us to know, you are welcome to share your your thoughts with us, either Karen or myself, and we'll plan and put you on our next year calendar. And thank you so much for everyone who have tuned in, and thank you for spreading the word out there, and look forward to the new year. And thank you so much for this time. That's about it.
So Erica Orban is the board liaison for the communications committee. Erica cannot be with us right now because she is at her son's school where they are celebrating the end of the school year. So I have offered to step in for her. This is a relatively new committee under the leadership of under the leadership of Karen Court. Karen is the committee chair. And this committee is really responsible for making sure that we have 3 newsletters every year, and they did publish 3 newsletters that members and friends are regularly informed about ICUUW and the work that we do, that we improve our website continuously, that we have good Facebook presence, and that we can work with the membership committee to make sure that members can also, that is the future plan, easily connect with other members. We already heard about the sub-team, which is the Tuesday gathering. Sylvie just heard about us. This is a committee that meets monthly, but in addition to our committee meetings, a lot of the work is done in between the meetings, whether it is writing an article or asking someone for an article, looking for good illustrations, you name it. This is a very, very busy committee, making sure that communications goes around. So thank you to all in this committee. Jerry?
Hi. I'm going to kind of combine these 2 reports since they're very similar. I'm really happy to announce that we have reconstituted a finance committee, and we've been meeting monthly. And one of the main goals of the committee is to look more long term, to look at the bigger picture rather than just taking a look at, okay, how did we do last month? So can we go on to the treasurer's slide? Maybe. So I didn't, yeah. So we talked about the finance committee. And I'd like to speak just a little bit about our legacy fund. So the legacy fund was established in 2022, and it is a board restricted fund, and it is used to assist people that need scholarships or other financial assistance, especially to participate in convocations and the meetings at the UN and things like the spring seminar. Travel can be very expensive, and we want to include as many folks as possible. So we do, for each one of those events, we form a committee that reviews people's requests for scholarships, and the funds come out of that legacy fund. So donations to that are more than welcome. It has a little bit over $30,000 right now. And it is also a backdrop in case there's some unforeseen huge expense or something. So, but that would have to be approved by the board. Our main checking has about $60,000. Our largest expense in a non-combo year is for our contracted staff. As we've grown, it's apparent that everything can't be done by the volunteers. We need a few folks who are looking at things day to day. We need sort of more help with things like websites and those sorts of things. So a lot of the behind the scenes help is better help by kind of consistent contracted staff. Not to say that we also can't survive without our volunteers. So please continue with that. Our main source of income is from you, our members.
And your generous donations are what keeps us in business, and we sincerely, sincerely thank you for all of your support. And please encourage your friends to become members. Have them check out one of the Tuesday gatherings, which I find very wonderful, and check us out. And we've briefly touched on the Share the Plate program. And for many of our UU churches, especially in the United States, but also around the world, a Sunday offering is often set aside for donations to outside nonprofit groups. And we have a few very loyal churches who include ICUUW in that program every year. And it's also a really great way to get the word out about what we do and what we accomplish. And if you would like to help sponsor a Share the Plate at your church, we do have materials, slides, and that sort of thing to help you present that to your congregation. So to close, because I know time is short for today, I've been your treasurer since 2018, and it's time for some new leadership. So as such, this will be my last year in this position. If you're interested, please think about joining the Finance Committee to learn a little bit more about that. And feel free to give me a call or send me an email to ask about what the responsibilities are, or if you have any other money-related questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry. Yes, and of course, Jerry is both the head of the Finance Committee and our treasurer. So thank you to everybody in the committees, everybody who is active in a committee. That is where most of our work gets done. And thank you to all the board liaisons who work on these committees and make sure that there's good linkages. I showed you the liaisons that we have had in the past. When the new board meets, the new officers will get elected and new board liaisons will be appointed to the various committees that we have. We also have Share the Plate. It was alluded to earlier. It is now part of the Finance Committee, and Erica was going to talk about it. You might have heard from Erica. Erica sent out an email a few weeks ago talking about Share the Plate, echoing what Jerry just said, that we are always looking for congregations who are willing to share the plate with us. We are very happy. Many of our congregations repeatedly share the plate with us. Last year, we also had an Australian organization, the Brisbane Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, and the European Unitarian Universalists in Europe do a collection for us. So thank you, and always the appeal to everyone, go to your own congregation and see if they would like to share a plate with us. That would be wonderful. We already, that concludes the presentation of the reports from the committees. Again, thank you to everyone. We are now going to go into quick reports. We already had Jerry's report. Pooja's going to give us a quick report, and Jiva is going to give us a quick report. I'm going to wrap it up, and then we'll open it up to member questions, comments, announcements before we close with a blessing for the new board. Pooja.
Hi, everyone, again. First of all, I would like to say that it has truly been an honor to serve as the executive director and work alongside such an incredible team. The past 4 months have been both a steep learning curve, but also a rewarding journey for me. And none of these accomplishments would have been possible without the dedication, expertise, and support of you all, of this highly talented team. I see ICUUW as being built on 3 essential pillars, which are members, finance, and projects. And I'm sure you all know that projects are creating impact. But in order for us to grow our impact and reach, we need to continue to engage with our current members and also bring in some new members. So that means we need to engage and build our membership base, and also build our financial resources that will help us not only in supporting the mission, but also advancing it globally. One of the first priorities of mine was to better understand our and strengthen our membership base. And over the past few months, and I would like to thank Karen, Allison, Gretchen, and Tina, who worked with me and to conduct a comprehensive review of our membership records for 2025. And this 3-month long process really helped us in identifying our current members who are sustaining or like annual members, understand that who has contributed in the past, and determine where we might have the opportunity to reconnect with some of our lapsed members. We need to bring them back. I'm sure you all understand that a strong and engaged membership is always at the heart of any thriving organization. And I look forward to working with all of you, especially Allison, Gretchen, and the membership team, to develop strategies that will not only ensure that our current members are happy, but also help us bring in more members. Secondly, we have also focused on expanding the institutional and restricted funding, which will not only provide critical financial support, but will also enhance our visibility within the philanthropic community. And as part of this effort, ICUUW has begun engaging with prospective foundation partners and as well as exploring opportunities for institutional support. I personally would like to thank Jerry and Tina for working with me in helping me create those budgets, helping us write proposals, send it out to the donors. So thank you so much for doing that. And I'm sure you understand that fundraising do take time, but these are necessary measures towards diversifying and strengthening our funding team. At last, I just want to say that the more support we secure, the more projects we can undertake, and the more women and communities we would be able to reach. And this is the only effective way we can advance our mission around the globe. I'm truly enthusiastic about the opportunities ahead and so very grateful for all of your support. Thank you again for joining us in this meeting today. And thank you so very much for your continued commitment. I'm truly honored to be working with all of you and learning from all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Pooja. Ajiva.
Yes, I'm on. So this is a short report from the Vice President, since I am in charge looking after the bylaws and the policies. So this year we reviewed the bylaws and recommended changes to the board, and these changes were adopted. We also reviewed the strategic plan for 2025. There no changes were needed. We also reviewed and updated operating policies, and these were all adopted by the board.
Thank you, Ajiva. And that's really important. It might sound really dry, but it's really important to have a good vice president who takes this on and who works through this line by line and then shares it with the board and makes necessary changes or recommends necessary changes. So thank you, Ajiva. It's often a work that gets done and doesn't get really mentioned, but I think it's important for an organization to, be a healthy organization and move forward in a good way. So thanks.
Thank you, Tita.
Yeah. I'm going to keep my report brief as well. As you know, we hired our new executive director, and that took up a lot of the time. Last year at our annual meeting, I shared that we were almost ready to put out an advertisement for the position, and we advertised a little later in the year. We got initially not very many responses and then too many. So the selection committee, which was formed, was really, really busy picking the best person for the job. We all had different ideas as to what the best person is. So it was a very good committee meeting or very good committee that allowed us to then really pick the person who will help ICUUW move forward in very good ways. I also worked with the coordinating council. I mentioned it earlier. I worked with communications, the programs and partnership committee, and I did a lot of work behind the scenes. I already did that before I became president, where we look at what's our calendar and how can we make that more accessible? What are the processes we use? How can we make it easier for all of our volunteers to do the work that they are doing? So basically, continuous improvement all along. You also saw in the slides today that there were some more numbers maybe than we had in the past. So we are trying to get better at actually looking, for example, when we send out emails, how many people read our emails? How can we make sure that people open our emails? As an example, you also saw numbers as to how many people dial into our Tuesday gatherings, how many people dial in repeatedly. Again, to improve what we are doing along our work, along our mission to improve the world for women and girls. With that, we are done with the reports, and we have a few meetings, a few minutes. If any of you, and I know Jody had raised her hand for questions, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can all see each other. And Jody, I turn it over to you.
Thanks so much, Tina. This is my first opportunity to be with ICCUW, and I've really enjoyed learning about it. And so I have two questions and comments. My first is that the US administration has reneged on supporting the SDGs. And so, my question about, the UN committee is, how are we going forward for that? My second is, this is my first introduction to the ICCUW, and Unitarian women need to know about it. I am a chairperson for an international women's committee called FALCO, and most of the women's groups don't really know anything about FALCO. And it's an amazing group. And so similar. How do we engage regular UU women members? How do we get them to know what's going on with this group? Because it's very important. And so those are my comments, questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And Beth has her hand up.
Yeah, Tina, I'd like to respond to Jody. We are ICUUW. We are a member of the U.S. Women's Caucus at the UN, and this is a group of U.S.-based NGOs involved in women's rights and gender equity, and so one thing about UN work is that you learn to partner with other organizations because strength in numbers and your voice is and so this caucus is very good. And if you would join our US advocacy committee, I always forward all the emails. They are great about writing to the U.S. mission, to the United Nations, to the State Department, to the elected officials about protesting the withdrawal of support for the UN and for UN activities. So that's one way we are expressing, our position with the lack of support for the UN. And Falco is a member of this U.S. caucus.
Thanks, Beth. To move on with a few thank yous, if I may. We have so many people to thank, but I want to call out a few of them. And that is, first of all, we already mentioned it, Gizi. Thank you for serving on the board for 6 years. Thank you for all the work you have done on the board. Not only on the board, but of course also UNOS, right? Projects like the mental health project that Elgiva mentioned in programs and partnerships. Gizi was instrumental in that, among other people. So thank you, Gizi, for all your work. And it's so good to know that you will now be on nominating, and we will, the organization will continue to count on you and your impact, your import. Rini Hills has been our member, was a member of the board for 6 years as well, and Rini lives in Brisbane, Australia. Rini is not on the call because it would be sometime in the middle of the night for her. And so we decided together on the board to schedule our annual meeting at this point, knowing that Rini would not be able to join us. She will listen to the recording afterwards. And so Rini, please accept our thanks from everyone on the board. And I'm sure our members are joining me for all the work that you have done, not only on the board, but especially on the membership committee. If you've received a thank you from ICUUW for your support, there's a good chance it came from Rini. So Rini, thank you. And Rini, again, is also staying with us in the membership committee. So it's good to know that we have good people working with us here. Phyllis had served on the committee, had served on the board before. Phyllis has been our treasurer before, and Phyllis stepped up when we had a vacancy on the board and without hesitation said, sure, count me in and I will help again. And you also heard from Phyllis today because Phyllis served as the board liaison with the UN Advocacy Committee, where she is very active. So Phyllis, thank you. Thank you just for everything you do for ICUUW in so many ways. And finally, if my screen advances, I would like to thank Vicky. Vicky served on the nominating committee for many years, and Vicky helped the nominating committee get more organized. And really, in some ways, you could say Vicky established some of the foundations that the nominating committee is still benefiting from before she resigned earlier in the year. So Vicky, thank you for all the work you did for nominating. You provided a lasting impact on not only the nominating committee, but especially the nominating committee and the organization overall. Thanks a lot from all of us. The new board. Here is the new board. This is the board that you elected, and this is where they are located. Just a quick glance at where everybody is to show you, where we are located and where we might like to have additional or the next board members come from. So if you think that we are weak in one area and you know someone who is active in ICUUW, encourage them to get in touch with the nominating committee. We are always on the lookout for a few more good people. And I turn it over to Zhuja, who has a charge for the new board.
A blessing for leaders. As we begin a new year together, let us offer our blessing to the lay leaders who invest their time and care in the well-being of this community. Here I invite you to rise in body, in spirit, in all the ways that we do. And I invite all of us to enter a spirit of prayer or quiet reflection. Spirit of generosity, we are grateful for these leaders who give of themselves to make this community strong. Spirit of connection, bless them in their work of reminding us of our highest aspirations. Spirit of encouragement, orient them always towards manifesting love. Spirit of life, keep them grounded in practices that nourish them in this sacred work. May the fruits of their dedication to this organization return to them 1,000-fold. Amen.
Thank you, Zsuzsa.
Amen.
Amen.
Before we extinguish the chalice, I'd like to echo what was already mentioned a few times. As soon as we get off this call, don't forget to support our work. You can donate right after the call. Go to our homepage, ICUUW.org. Click on the button at the end of the page, big red button that says donate, and support the work that we do for all women and girls everywhere where we have UUs, making the world a better place for all. Let's extinguish our chalice.
Here
Zsuzsa.
is the chalice. Yes, here is the chalice. And I'm using the words of Emily Richards. Please take a moment to become present, to pause and to notice how you are in this moment. Our work here today is at an end. And our work has just begun. The work of holding one another and this community in love. The work of trusting that we are on the right path. The work of believing that what connects us is stronger than what separates us. The work of engaging in that which makes us whole. The work of deeper understanding and commitment. The work of letting go of what which does not serve us. The work of radical inclusion. The work of collective liberation. The work of this beloved community. A beloved community of which we are all part. A place where we are welcomed, respected, valued, cherished. A place where we belong. Go in peace. Amen. And blessed be.
Amen.
Thank you, Zsuzsa. Thank you, everyone, for attending our meeting. Thank you for all the work you do. I see many names of people who are very active in our organization. Thank you for all the work you do, for working with us, for helping us every day put our ideas and our mission into practice. Get involved, get in touch. Hi, Gail. Get in touch, right? And if you want to become more active, we have so many opportunities for you to be active. Just reach out to us. You can just send an email to admin@icuuw.org. Tell us what most interests you, and we will hook you up with the people, right? And together we can do something. We love being with each other. We love chatting with each other, and we love making a difference in the world. With that, I invite all the new board members to please immediately join me in the other room, which is where the board meeting will be held now. And I say thank you to everyone else for joining us and hope to see you soon in one of the other calls. Thank you so much.